This is a human. Most humans are born with 2 legs. They use these 2 legs to move. This is a trait they gained to conserve energy. But what happens when one gets hurt and is no longer able to use a leg? I don't know. As said before, most humans have 2 legs, and I have both of mine. But that's not beside my best efforts. So if you care to hear some stories about my leg getting hurt, then stick around. And if not, freaking go watch some boring YouTuber who has more subscribers than me. Anyways. So when I was like 10 or 11, I was helping my uncle and cousins plant some trees. My uncle was operating the tractor and made sure to keep telling us, be careful and stay out of the way of the tractor bucket. He lowered the bucket to the point where it was hovering over the ground with a good foot or 0.3048 meters for all you not using freedom units. So as I was saying, I was being an idiot and I placed my foot beneath the area that the tractor bucket was hovering over. And this spot was perfectly hidden from his view, so he had no idea my foot was there. He decided to lower the bucket to make it easier so we could get the dirt out of it. And it crushed my foot. I struggled and squirmed, but it was no use. They would have to cut off my leg. Oh. When he finally lifted the bucket, I couldn't walk, and my parents were told of the event, grabbing me and booking it double time to get to the hospital. Every bump and turn hurt so bad. When we arrived, I was almost immediately admitted. Thankfully, I had no long-term damage and just a flesh wound and a sprained ankle, but it hurt really bad. That whole experience was my fault, and I honestly don't know why I placed my foot there. I'd like to re-preface that it was not my uncle's fault, and it was entirely my fault for not thinking through it. I just had such a small brain back then. Now jumping back in time, the second story is from when I was very little. You see, I suffer from pollen allergies, as many do. And I'm not talking about no run-of-the-mill sniffle. I mean I get full-on rashes, my eyes puff to the point that I can't see, my throat clogs, along with a slew of other issues. It's like the universe is punishing me for going outside. So when I was little, I would wear shorts all the time. I don't know why, but I hated wearing pants. This, I would later learn, was a bad thing. Where I grew up, there were a lot of weeds, and as such, they were covered in pollen throughout every season that was not winter. My fragile little legs would be lightly scratched by these weeds, and they would leave pollen on them. This would lead to my little legs puffing up like balloons and getting rashes all over them. I looked like the frickin' Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I would wobble around instead of walk and would regularly have to stay inside, which sucked because I was an outdoorsy kid. That was the greatest tragedy of that age. Eventually I started wearing pants again and was able to go outside. Yippee! But not without my protest and crying and whining and holding of breath. Looking back, I don't even know why I didn't like them. Like, what was wrong with me? I guess I was just stubborn to a fault, like an donkey. Donkey, that's what I was gonna say, like Donkey from Shrek. For my third story, I'll talk about dun 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 having fun with friends. Okay, so one of my friends had dirt bikes, and we would rally around on them. Now, I was cocky back then. Thank goodness I have grown out of that and become the most humble, amazing, handsome, muscular, and social person. So I, being cocky, was going full throttle and zoomed up a hill. Then I looked around. My friends were nowhere to be seen. So I decided to go look for them. And I did the most obvious thing. You know, the very obvious idea of starting by going down the hill I had just gone up at the fastest possible speed I could. I went faster and faster and faster. Then I felt it. I lost control and crashed, my chest scraping against the ground, gravel inserting itself in between my skin, taking out small chunks of my flesh. The bike slid past me. Stones lodged themselves in my chest, arm, and most importantly, my leg! My friends found me shuffling without one of my shoes, and the bike crashed a good 10 feet away from me. They went and told my parents, who came and got me in the car. I was covered in bandages for a good 2 weeks after that. I'm still covered in scars from that crash. Oh, I still have the rock that was in my arm. Just a little keepsake. See, it has my bloodstains on it. And a bit of me. Ugh. Lastly is one of the many times I've gotten hurt on a trampoline. You see, me and my friends like to play a game called Ninja. Now, how you play this game is you stand still and you take turns swinging to karate chop each other's limbs. And if you hit one, it is cut off and they can't use it anymore. The opposing person is allowed to dodge your strike, but nothing more. You win when you cut off all their limbs or hit their head. This might have been why I was so dumb. Well, we would forego the standing still rule and would jump around on a trampoline trying to chop each other. And we also wouldn't take turns. And yes, I know exactly what you're thinking. It was very safe and nothing bad ever happened when we did it. So this one time, we were neck and neck. As in, we both had the same amount of limbs. My arms were cut off, so I could only use my legs! I knew my options were limited, so I did the only thing I could think of. I jumped at him, swinging my leg, slamming it into his. A sharp pain staggering through my body. I hopped on one leg, going inside my house and getting a leg brace. And I just went back outside, and I tried to jump, but I couldn't anymore. Oh. And to add to my stupidity, I tried to jump day after day, prolonging how long it took to heal, and because of that, I couldn't walk normally for a month. I don't know why I was so stubborn. Like, looking back, half of these things are just because I decided to commit to something, and I wouldn't choose to just think about it for a second longer. Like, I'm not an idiot, but back then, that's a whole nother story.
Whoa, that took a long time. Sorry for the wait. And for one that was shorter than the last one. Test, test, test. I'm barely getting past my own 8-minute requirement. Yeah, I'd like to apologize for the audio. I know it's a bit scrappy. I'm still trying to figure it out. And I'm not going to apologize for the animations, because I'm proud of myself for that. I'd like to thank everyone who's been supporting me through the shorts. That's been awesome. And let's make it a goal that by the end of this year I can get monetized, so I can put more effort and more money into these videos. But till then, everybody stay safe out there.